Hey everybody! Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Wednesday. You know what that means. It is time for Spirit Wisdom Wednesday, where we meet together here in the healing space and allow some beautiful spirit wisdom to flow through. If you are new to me, let me introduce myself and welcome you here with an open heart. My name is Meredith, and this is my heart-centered business called the Healing Hummingbird. And what I love to do is help healers, givers, and spiritual go-getters reclaim their life, receive healing, and walk down their path, all in the way of the hummingbird, which involves lots of beautiful lightness of being and joy and a big brave heart. So thank you so much for being here. And as you know, if you're familiar with my socials, you'll see that my spirit guides wanted to talk about moon energy, and some of you did as well. I was prompted last week, as I mentioned moon phases, to ask who was interested, and there was a lot of interest. So Spirit has confirmed that a few times over, so I'm excited to be here and talk to you guys about moon energy. So if you are here with me live, do leave me a comment so I could say hello and share in the beautiful energy with you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. It feels like excited energy. So I feel like there's a lot of interest in this topic. And I would say over the past year specifically, I've worked on my relationship with the moon and the moon phases. So I am so happy to share what has worked for me, what I find really interesting and insightful as far as working with the moon. And as you know, my spirit guides are here, so they may pop in and have some things to add and have some 2 cents. So they wanted to start with a couple of themes that come up with the moon. And the moon for me is kind of like dreams. Like you could go to a dream interpreter to figure out what your dream means. So a lot of times what happens in a session like that is they will probably ask you, if you saw like an animal in the dream, or if something happened in the dream, they would ask you, okay, what does that mean to you personally? So I feel like the moon is also very much like that, but I haven't heard many people talk about that. So what the moon means for you, and I'll go over a few different common themes that I have seen, but I also wanted to throw out there something that might help you, is to take a look at your astrological chart and see where the moon falls on your birth chart. That could really help you figure that out. Like, for example, I was born on a full moon, which means my sun and moon signs are opposites, which has created some interesting yin and yang opposition within myself. But it's also part of figuring out how you process emotions. The moon has a lot to do with the emotional body. My moon is in Gemini, which means I often see both sides of situations, and I might have a hard time coping with things because I have a Sagittarius sun, which means my ego is just very childlike and wants to keep things moving. So that was interesting. They already hijacked the conversation a little bit to go into that. So some of the themes of what the moon could mean for you, again, it could be different for everyone. It could mean flow. As we know, the moon affects the tides and pool of water, so it could also have to do with the emotional body. For me, it often means trust in the unknown, and also manifestation. I often work with the moon energy to welcome big, beautiful things into my life. And we'll talk about what the phases mean and what kind of energy they hold. It just kind of lets you know which way you should be going in, just so that you're not trying to swim upstream. Because, for example, the waning moon, the 4th quarter moon, a lot of people often want to rest during that time. It's a time of rest. So a great example would be like, if you have a choice anyway, it's harder to get people to meet to get together and like go out on a waning moon. You'd probably want to do that like on a full moon or a 1st quarter. So that's just kind of a sneak peek of what's to come. Another thing that the moon could represent is intuition. And also femininity. And I also associate the moon with mystery. And the moon, I feel, is also very reflective. So it could have to do with shadow work, recognizing something that you have in someone else. You know, that saying, if you spot it, you got it. I feel like that's super, super moon energy, just reflecting back aspects of yourself that could need healing or addressing. Also, the last thing they wanted to talk about as far as what the moon could mean for you is it often talks about cycles. You certainly don't have to be feminine to identify with this. You know, you have a sleep cycle, your circadian rhythm, wakefulness as opposed to sleeping. So the moon could also affect how you sleep. It could also affect like eating habits, things that are kind of unconscious, you know, like your heart's always beating, your lungs are always breathing, things like that. So cycles is a really interesting thing to take a look at when it comes to moon energy. It's a great time to check in with yourself as well. If you notice the same phase, again, you can look up what phase of the moon you were born on. So I usually notice full moons a lot. Those really affect me the most. I was born on a full moon. Okay, so there must be a lot of people excited about this because they're like, there's so much information coming through. Okay, so let's talk about the phases and manifestation because this is where things get really fun. So let's start with the new moon. It is the phase we most recently had last week, right? Where I live, and you can get an app that will tell you exactly when the moon is new, full, or whatever you're tracking. But I believe it was new on Friday for me. It was Thursday or Friday. And this is a time to sow your seeds. This is a time to check in with yourself and ask, what do I want? What do I need? What feels good? What am I aligned with right now? And this is where you would start manifestation techniques. Now, I know that's kind of like a buzzword. So let me talk about a couple things that could work for you. I also feel during the new moon, it's really important if you're really wanting to learn about this cycle, about what works for you. I have found it is most important to try one thing at a time. And if you're like me, I can get really enthusiastic. I'm like, I'll just try everything. I'll just try all of them at the same time. And then it kind of becomes unclear which one really resonated for you. And it can really be helpful to understand that about yourself moving forward. So you could try scripting. This is where you write out what you want. So say if you are manifesting a house, what do you want the house to look like? What does it feel like when you walk into the house? And you can write and write and write about this. What's most important about scripting is how you're feeling. So you want to write in the present tense as if it's happening right now. When I walk in my house, it smells amazing. I have the best candles. All the windows are so beautiful. I have all these plants everywhere. So it's not like I want my house to look like this, because the universe will reflect the energy back to you, and an energy of wanting implies that I don't have it. So in order to really magnetize and attract, you want to use that present tense. Is really important in your affirmations. Another thing you can do is visualization exercises. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube about that, to really decide what you're going for. There's another one that has to do with water, something about supercharging like a bottle of water with your intentions and then drinking from the bottle of water for the rest of the moon phases is another way to manifest. So just search water manifestation if that is interesting to you, if you resonate with that. Okay, so after the new moon, and each phase holds the same energy for about 3 days. So it's not like, oh, I missed the new moon. If you don't get it on the exact day, it's okay. It's your intentions are what really matter. So moving on to the first quarter, this is a time to take action. So what you would want to do during a first quarter moon is write down a list of tangible action steps you can take to get to your house, if that's what you're manifesting. So it might be, okay, what I can do is I can start looking. I can start looking at listings. I can decide where I want to live. I can drive out to different properties and look and see if I really like the land, if I like the way the drive feels. Maybe one of those steps is to save money, or hire a consultant, or just start talking about it. It's really important to take aligned action, because that allows your spirit guides in the universe to kind of meet you halfway. They start to observe you. You've said what you want, now you start doing it. And they're like, okay, this is what we're really doing. It's like laying out a blueprint of where you want to go. So that's the first quarter moon. Again, it's a great time to schedule meetings because people are in a go mode. So you might be feeling it right now. We're about to enter a first quarter pretty soon. And I can already feel the energy kind of picking up, like it's go time. Start to take action. And now the full moon is a time to release and receive. And there's an affirmation I have around here. It's one of my favorites. The more I release, the more I receive. So this is a great time to, what I usually do is I ask for what I want one more time. So maybe if I script it, I'll take out my paper and I'll read it again and really feel how excited I am in my new house. And I'll almost like talk to the universe or talk to the moon. This is what I want. If it's for the highest good of all, I'd love to welcome it into my life. I trust that it'll happen at the right time, in the right place, at the right price for everybody, and just let it go. And so I really like, well, I'm a fire sign, so I like rituals and things that have to do with fire, but it's really the practice of releasing. Like you can say, okay, I let go of this idea, but if you physically do something, it really helps. So safely, of course, what you can do is burn that piece of paper. That way you're not obsessing over, okay, I started talking about it on this date. Why hasn't it happened yet? It's releasing the time frame. It's releasing all of it. It's showing trust in what's going to happen or what needs to happen. And they're reminding me to talk about a way to digitally do this. So you can create a vision board on Pinterest. You can just create a secret board or a private board. And on the full moon during your ritual, what you can do is just delete the whole board. And that might feel a little scary because you're letting go of all these ideas that you've dreamed up. But it's part of it. It's part of it to release and be in alignment with the flow of the moon and the flow of the universe. So that's super, super important. Also, I think it's interesting to observe how you're feeling during the different phases. During full moons, I know like there's some weird stereotype that people act crazy on full moons. Sometimes I'll get really sleepy. Sometimes I'll get really tired. And it could just be that I'm sensitive to that energy, so it really affects me a lot. So that's another thing they wanted to bring up. And then lastly, the fourth quarter. This is a time to rest and recuperate. As the moon wanes, so should you, is what they're saying energetically. It may feel like an emotional time. So maybe the full moon came and went and you feel like, oh, nothing came through this time. That doesn't mean it's not coming, but it could be part of the ego letting it go. So you could just feel releasing. You could be dealing with feelings of disappointment or just feeling tired. So it's helpful to recognize, hey, this is just a normal part of being a human on Earth who sees the moon. Like a lot of people feel that way during this phase of the moon, and I haven't heard many people talk about it. So it can be helpful to just understand, oh, this has nothing to do with me really. This is just a cycle and I'll just let it go and it'll pass. And of course it does. They're saying that you could also deal with shadow healing at this point. So again, that there's that reflective element of the moon, right? So that could come up as well. They want you to remember to embrace, relax, and allow. Relax and allow is another great affirmation that has to do with moon energy. Okay, so that was a lot of information, but I hope that was helpful for you. Let me know if you have a special relationship to the moon. I know that there's some people that just do. There's some people that feel really connected to it. And I always have too. And I think part of that was being born on a full moon. That's a lot of energy. So it's interesting to look that up. I hope that you do. And so, yeah, so let me take a moment to see if we have any comments here. Lola says, finally found you. Yes. Hi, Lola. So glad to see you live. So let's go ahead and begin our weekly readings. So what I'll typically do is invite you to take a couple deep breaths with me. I'll show you a couple objects, and then we'll move into the readings just to give you a rundown of what that usually looks like. So, since there's so much excitement, let's take a couple deep breaths here. Just a deep inhale in and a slow, smooth exhale out. And one more time, inhale in and an exhale out. Trust that you will know which group holds your message for the week ahead. You can invite your spirit guides around you and ask which one, 2, or 3. Relaxing and allowing that message to come in as it needs to. So you may know, hear, feel, or see that it's 1, 2, or 3. Or you could feel very attracted to one of the objects I'm going to show you. Okay? So they wanted to use keychains today. I don't know why. Maybe that'll be another message. But group number 1 is this little bell. It has a tree on it. Group number 2 is this peace sign keychain. Lots of different colors there. And then group number 3 has this fleur-de-lis keychain. Okay, so we should have our groups now. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so group number 1, if you chose this little bell with the life tree, this will be your week ahead reading. So I'll go ahead and get some tarot, and then we'll do some guidance cards as well. Okay. So for group number 1, what would be most helpful for them to know for the week ahead? What do they need to know for the highest good, Spirit? Okay. For group number 1, there's sort of this feeling like I need to go ahead and make a decision. So maybe you've been putting off making a decision about something. Let's see if anything else comes out about that. Okay, so group number 1, the first card out here is the Star, and then the Page of Swords, and the 2 of Wands. Okay. And this is just the OG Universal Rider-Waite Tarot, if I didn't say that. Okay. So for group number 1, they're talking about an idea that you may have had recently. It feels like a realization about something really deep, maybe like your life purpose or your life path or something. So maybe you're asking, do I really like what I'm doing? Do I feel good about the way my life is going and the relationships in it and the way I interact with people? Am I fulfilling a higher purpose here? So you may have been thinking those things and come to a realization that's led you to planning something different than what you're currently doing, but planning for something that is more aligned with, they're saying, your calling, your highest calling. So this could be a shift in job. This could be a move in house. And I'm starting to feel like really dizzy. So you might be getting some kind of upgrade up here in the crown chakra or in the third eye. But there's a lot of energy around the head. So there must be a lot of thinking and planning and visualizing what I want my new life to look like. For group number 1, I do also feel a need to release expectations. And it feels kind of emotional. So maybe you're realizing that you've been attached to an outcome, maybe at work or with your career, and things aren't quite going as you had originally planned. Or you've come to a crossroads and you kind of feel like, when I'm meditating at night or when I'm talking to my guides or praying, I feel like I'm spilling my guts out and like nothing's really happening. And so if that's you, group number 1, if that's your energy I'm picking up on, and it feels really foggy in the head, again, so that would be another way to know that you picked the right group, is what they're saying. If that's you, I'm hearing from Spirit that that is part of the plan. That's part of what is helping you heal and evolve into the next step right now, is spilling your guts. So I know that can feel kind of counterproductive in a way. It can make it feel heavier, like you've taken a step backwards. And Spirit's saying, no, it's not that you're taking a step backwards. It's that you're lightening your load and allowing us to help you, which is really beautiful. So let's get you a couple guidance cards. So for group number 1, what guidance could help in this situation, Spirit? With this new plan, this new action on their life purpose. Okay, and we've got 2. You've got the Wren and the Condor. And the messages here are: be bold and confident. Use all of your resources to create your dreams. Okay, that goes great with this card. The star can often be about higher purpose and also dreams as well. And they're also saying, hold the highest vision for your life. You now possess the ability to move past any hurdles. Okay, so they're talking about how powerful your thoughts are, group number 1. So if you're someone who thinks a lot at night, and they're saying especially if you're feeling really emotional or like heightened. So if you're really upset and you feel like your thoughts are racing, Spirit's wanting to help you bring awareness to that situation, because it's a pattern that can be helped. And then say, wait a second, all of this energy that's like plummeting forward, I can actually flip that into a really powerful manifestation tool, is what they're saying. So they want you to, they're talking about a happy place. So they're wanting you to visualize your ideal life. Get that image in your head to the point where you're able to recall it like that. So if you're feeling bogged down and you catch these thoughts starting this circular pattern, they want you to be able to flip into that place, into that kind of like mental sanctuary, is also another way that they're putting it, where Spirit can help you manifest that. And yeah, they're saying that you might not realize how powerful you are, how powerful your thoughts are. And they want to help you use that energy to create something big and beautiful in your life, which is wonderful. And I wanted to end today's reading on a key word. And I have a really special book with keywords and images in it that looks like little hands. So let's see, for group number 1, what is the takeaway keyword, Spirit? Cultivate. You got cultivate. And I'm also hearing the word begin. Do not be afraid to begin. Okay, so that was your reading for group number 1 with the bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Okay, so if you were in group number 2 and you chose the peace sign keychain, this is your week ahead reading. So again, we'll start with tarot and then get some guidance as well. Group number 2 feels very, almost like I feel like I'm late to work or something. Like, I need to go, I need to go. There's this urgency to group number 2. So let's see what that is about. Okay. Yeah, there's this energy of like, I just need to get things done. I don't have time to think about this. I don't have time to, it just feels like go, 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 go. Okay, so for group number 2, we have the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, we have Judgment. And the 3 of Cups, clarified by the King of Pentacles. Okay, let's see what's going on here. So for group number 2, it kind of feels like your wheels are spinning. And it feels dangerously close to burnout. So be mindful of burnout. They want to talk about that. Know when to pump the brakes, know when to rest, know when to relax and allow. So you might be taking on a lot at work. Spirit wants to remind you that it's okay to lighten the load, that it's okay to ask for help or delegate if you need to remember your power. I feel like group number 2 is a really strong worker. This is someone who has an incredible ethic, work ethic that really, really cares about what they do, really cares about their career, and is very good at building wealth and building different stable systems. So this could just be like a process that you go through with the type of work that you do. Maybe you take your own notes. People could be, you're the type of person that people would ask for training from, even though if you're not a trainer, people would ask you to train them, if that makes sense. Like, you're the person in the office who knows what the F they're doing, basically, or at least that is the energy potential that they're talking about. That's a talent that you have. If that's untapped, they're saying you could easily tap into that. It's a very powerful energy. And you're also someone who knows how to relax and have a good time. So what comes to mind for some reason is beers after work. So maybe you're that kind of person who would organize something like that. So a really great coworker, someone who's really awesome to be around. But what people may not see is if you are close to burnout, because I feel like you're the type of person who would be pleasant at work even if you're not feeling well, or pleasant around family even when you're not feeling well. And Spirit wants to remind you to turn inward and check in with yourself and ask yourself, what do I need right now? What can I do to provide myself with the things I need to feel secure and stable and appreciated? You really can help yourself feel appreciated. I know that sounds kind of funny, but you can even write it out. You can write out and record different things that have happened to you where you felt really celebrated, and you want to really remember that. Or a compliment, you just want to write it out, jot it down, and say, and express gratitude for things like that. And that's more of the Wheel of Fortune coming in, is like, what you acknowledge is what increases. So if you're like, oh, I loved receiving that compliment today. Thank you, universe. I'd love to receive more. And so that will become magnetized to you and become bigger and brighter. So that is something else that they're talking about. But I do want to go ahead and get an advice card for you, group number 2, because your life purpose is also coming up in this reading as well. So you might have felt torn between groups 1 and 2. That's okay. But let's see what advice they have for your week ahead. Now that we kind of know the situation is about work and work ethic, you also might be feeling a little tongue-tied, group number 2. Okay, and so we have Meadowlark. Smile, you will soon experience a wonderful journey of inner discovery. Yes, we were just talking about that. So that's all about turning inward and asking, what do I need to feel good in my life? Because I feel like you are a giver and someone who's really great at supporting others, and Spirit really would love for you to support yourself too. And then you also have Turkey, which says, honor your own time of harvest. Offer your gifts and blessing as a service to the greater good. And I'm seeing a footnote. So I feel like they're saying you're already in this energy. You're already giving, but your cup isn't full yet. So Spirit's just lovingly tapping you on the shoulder this week and saying, hey, it's time to fill your cup. So if that means you come home from work and you have a beer, or you eat some cookie dough or something like that, it's totally fine. So maybe you prefer those snacks. I don't know why they specifically said those, but so for group number 2, let's get your final takeaway message. Okay. And you got celebrate again. One of the other cards you got was celebrate. So don't forget to celebrate yourself and really remember when people celebrate you, group number 2. So those are your messages for your week ahead. If you chose the peace sign keychain, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Okay, so for group number 3, our third and final group, those of you who chose this keychain with the Fleur de lis, let's get your week ahead messages. Oh, okay. We already had one flip over. Let me see. Okay. So we have the Ace of Swords, the 3 of Swords, and the Knight of Cups. Okay. Let's see. So the main thing they're talking about is some kind of perceived loss. And that wording is really, really important. That you might perceive something as a loss, as a heartache, but even though something may feel painful or uncomfortable, it doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. And I know that that's really hard to hear. And it's not like that toxic spiritual positivity, I promise. But what they're saying is there's some kind of blessing in disguise here, that something like some kind of painful ending or something that you're releasing, if it was someone who's, left your life, is that there's some kind of message of love that comes after it. So they're asking you to remain open to receiving love and comfort as well. There's also, this feels like a tough situation. I'll be honest with you, group number 3. But it feels like something that you're already dealing with. So it's not like a foreboding, awful message. So don't worry about that. I don't read that way. But it feels like a tough situation. It feels like there was some kind of revelation, some kind of truth that came out, and then it led to the ending of something. So that could mean a lot of different things. It could just mean, I got hired somewhere else, so I left this job, or I found out there was a change in my pay, so I moved to a new house, or it could be I found something out in a relationship or in a family member or something like that, and now the energy has shifted with that person, and now they're shadow healing, helping. So my heart goes out to you if you're in group number 3. I know that is challenging to deal with, and it feels like you are sitting in it, which we all have to do. It's just part of the process. But I do want to get more information about this love message. There's something comforting coming your way. Something that feels very nurturing and supportive. And charming. So either you're charming, group number 3, or the message that you'll get will have something kind of charming in it. So maybe the person will like make a joke or something that will make you laugh. Or just know how to warm your heart. You know how there's like that one person that knows how to talk to you and make you feel better? Even if they just say something kind of goofy. You know what I mean. Group number 3. Okay. So we have the heron, which the heron definitely represents relationships to me specifically. And you have the peacock. Okay. So the messages here are let go of convention and follow your own unique path. Yeah, so if there was something that you realize that has really changed the way you feel about something, it's okay to honor that, even if maybe not everybody would understand that. It's more important to honor who you are, knowing that only you know how you feel, only you know what's best for you, and it's okay. Like, if somebody needs to be pissed off, it's okay to just let them be pissed off. So Spirit, for some reason, wanted to reaffirm that to you. I feel like you already knew that, but they're saying maybe somebody out there needed to hear that. And in the peacock, it says, inherent wisdom is emerging at this time. Watch it and ready yourself for a rebirth. Okay, so that's perfect with what we were just talking about. So I really feel there is somebody in your life who is supportive and helps you feel better, for sure, or that person's showing up this week. But I feel like they're really focusing on your inner guide, your inner knowing, honoring that you know, your gut knows. You are the type of person, group number 3, where your gut is always right. And you and everyone else around you knows it. So let's see what your takeaway message is for the week. If you remember one word from this reading, Spirit wants it to be this. Look at that. Be sweet. And also there's something about vitamins that they're bringing up, which is funny. Yeah, so if you take supplements, they're encouraging you to continue doing that. And then also eating citrus fruits. So maybe it's vitamin C or something like that. Also, cold pressed juices. I know that's really specific, but it's for somebody out there that they wanted to bring up. Would be really supportive to your immune system at this time. Especially if you're dealing with this kind of energy. This could be a time where you're feeling tired or maybe even sickly or maybe having sinus problems. So that citrus can help wake you up and kind of brighten up your system and help you feel better. And remember to be sweet to yourself is what they're saying there. So those were your messages. Group number 3, if you picked the Fleur de Lis. Thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you next time. So thank you all for being here to talk about the moon energy. I was thinking about maybe having a little series where I could pop in for a really quick, maybe like 5-minute video for each phase, just to walk through one moon cycle and exactly what I do anyway, and see if Spirit has anything to say specifically about that. So if you are interested in that, please let me know. But I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I know myself and people around me have had a lot of sleep interruptions. So maybe that has something to do with whatever's going on in the energy, like the universal energy right now. I think we're still in Cancer season, which can kind of be a lot emotionally. But yeah, pay attention to your sleep patterns. Make sure to rest. When you allow yourself to rest, you're the most clear, and take care of yourself. So I'm sending you so much love and light. Have an awesome week, and I will see you next time. Bye.